Yo guys, what's going on? It's Shaq here, the man with the deep voice, the YouTube star, as Club likes to call me. Bringing you back with another video today. It's gonna be a little something interesting. Probably no one's gonna watch this, but it's something I thought about doing since I don't know, week 5, maybe even week 3 of the season. I wanted to, after the season ended, ideally with a championship. We all know how that worked out. But that's the point. I wanted to do a retrospective, say what was on my mind, what I think did really well, what I think I should have done better, and just my overall retrospective, like how I see the season going on. Um, Honestly, I have no idea how long this is. This is not scripted at all. This is me just gonna blur my thoughts out, turn this video off. There's gonna be a few cutting of the screens, just so like switching between tabs and stuff like that. But this is more so like a podcast style, just gonna be rambling my thoughts, turn it off, turn it on, whatever you want to do. With that being in, let's get started. So overall, I one thing, and this is like in no particular order. This is gonna be there's gonna be some positives, there's gonna be some negatives, there's gonna be all this stuff. Um, for one, I want to talk about the draft. Um, Now the draft happened, I don't know, 3 months ago, and honestly, season 3 is gearing up. I'm joining another league that I will highly likely record. So there's gonna be like 2 videos a week at least. Um, but let's go about PWBC season two's draft. Overall, what you see on my team is overall what I drafted. The only real difference is Ice Cube, who I picked up in a mid-season transaction. It was for the pig. That's for Uncalone. I basically trades were ending, and I was like, I looked at the matchups for Orange Cologne, specifically for Orange Cologne alone, and I didn't see a matchup that would be even beneficial for me to even bring it. And I looked at the next 3 weeks into the potential playoff matches, and I saw Ice Cube coming at least 2 to 3 times, if not all 4 of those times, and ended up coming at least. I think he came up 3 times in the final 5 weeks. So like honestly, I think that was an excellent transaction for me. I love Ice Cube; it's one of my favorite Galar Pokemon. So yeah, overall, the team I drafted, I'm happy with. I genuinely I valued things at certain ranges, and I pretty freely I think I got them in the range. I knew obviously I wanted Palafin at number one. I had the opportunity, or Palafin was my top choice. It's a meme now with me and Palafin. I ended up trying to trade with Remy. There was a deal in place as long as I got him. I think Chen Pao and Iron Valiant. I was in eighth slot, so it was reasonable one of them would probably fall, especially with all the new stuff from DLC 1 dropping. Um, that ended up not happening, so Ringy backed out of the deal. I was cool with it. I gave him the out. He was gonna make it work, and I realistically had a short list. I had Palafin, Annihilate, Iron Bundle. Like that was literally my short list. Of 3 months I wanted to take with my first overall pick. Palafin was gone, Iron Bundle was gone, so I was like, all right, cool. I get Annihilate. I'm good. I was completely excited to use Annihilate. And to be honest, as soon as I picked Annihilate, I was like, okay, what's good with Annihilate? I am an avid fan of Joey and Pokegame. I've watched him, I don't know, since 10 years ago, maybe if not more. So obviously Annihilate Samurott. And I was valuing where to get Samurott. Do I wait until the third pick? But I also really wanted Guja Hisui. I'm an avid fan of the Guja line. It's my favorite pseudo legendary. So it was honestly, it was like, where do I pick Guja and Samurai when the other one doesn't fall? And realistically, both of them were very valuable at my second pick. And I was like, I like the strategy of Annihilate Samurai better. Obviously, I watched Joe use it in his championship run for that league, and I wanted to use it really well. I like his, like I said, I like Annihilate. I didn't end up using it on my playthrough team. I like Samurai Hisui. I did use that for Legends Arceus, so I was like, okay, if that's the strategy I want to commit more. If Guja falls, fantastic. If he doesn't, I'll survive. And as soon as Guja fell, I was maybe 6, 7 picks later. I was like, Espeon is like, I was looking at Terra's. I was looking at Terra Vikavolt. For example, like that was really one of the ones I was looking really into. And then Espeon was also on the board. I'm like, yo, Espeon's really good. Obviously, I watched Envy use it in that same league where Guja won, or where Joey won the season. Vikavolt doesn't fall to me. I think he ended up going Vikavolt goes in the third round. and Espeon was there. I'm like, Espeon 4th round, that's fair. That's a fantastic Terra captain. I got it at good value in my opinion. 4th round. Arguably, it's going to be Terra banned for the rest of the metagame, I believe. As if you're doing like mid to low tier Terra. Um, Other than that, to really round out the team, Volcarona was just, hey, Volcarona's here. These stats that you see on the screen aren't entirely updated. I'm pretty sure Volcarona has more than 3 kills. I'm pretty sure Annihilate came to all but 2 matches, including playoffs, and stuff like that. Samurott came to all but 2 matches, including playoffs and stuff like that. So these stats are entirely up to date. Um, but Volcarona was like, hey, it's free. It's cheaper than I expected it to be. I was looking at bug types, obviously, with Vikavolt. I was looking at fire types. I needed a fire type to round out Hisuian and Samurott. And at that point, I was pretty committed to Bramblegast. I knew it was doubling up on Ghost, but I wanted to use it. I like it. Its design. I thought I was going to really like it when the first game came out. I ended up choosing Masquerada. Actually fell in love with the Masquerada, even though it was not my first starter choice. But I was pretty committed to Bramblegast. I was like, I need a Fire, Water, Grass core. That ran out. Tinglu is my favorite legendary of the generation. Arguably the top 3 mon for me from Galar. Probably, or from Paldea. It's probably fallen off a little bit now. Now that the metagame's really settled, year plus in. Tinkaton was really, hey, I needed another rocker that was not Annihilate. And I knew it was doubling up on Steel. I needed a Fairy type. Just kind of things that kind of fell into place. I had the points at that point, so I was like, okay, what do I need in the electric type? Good Sunny and Therian. And then Swala and originally the Pig were just kind of there as, I think I actually had Swanna and something else. And I ended up realizing couldn't really rely on Terra Poison Bramblegast, so I needed to Swallow up. Actually, Swallow came to the 2 or 3 matches this season, a lot more than I was expecting, and it did exactly what I needed in all of those 3 matches. So honestly, I'm very happy with Swallow. Ended up drafting it in the other league I'm in too, ironically, pairing Annihilate with Swallow again. So that's really interesting, and Tinkaton too. So overall, I am very happy with the draft. Honestly, the biggest snipe was Vikavolt, but it's okay. Obviously, Palafin, there's a whole meme about that. I won't get too much into that. So draft-wise, very happy. I got one of my mons on my short list. Literally, the next ones left are Palafin and Bundle, and honestly, I'm leaning a little more towards against getting Palafin. I had the shot to take in the other league. I ended up trading it away just due to my mental state and like, not feeling safe, not feeling secure in the draft. I like to draft things that I care about, and like if I don't care about the mon, I will not draft the mon. Like straight up, if I have absolutely no like, if the mon's like Mewtwo, for example, but I have no interest in drafting Mewtwo like at all, I just won't draft Mewtwo even if it's like pick 15 in a regular format, as an example. I just don't. I have to have invest myself in the mon to draft them on. That's just who I am. Moving on, we're gonna talk about kills and moves and mon specifically, go into more detail. Number one, happy as hell with Annihilate, straight up. They're like, I literally drafted another. I traded for it in another league. You know, everyone was like, "What the fuck? You just use Annihilate." I know. I'm ecstatic about Annihilate. There is some faults I don't get into and get into the more specific movesets. I'm happy about Annihilate. I genuinely think it's probably gonna be my favorite mon of the generation. To draft for this entire metagame. I had Screamtail last season, and Screamtail was something I was interested in. I wanted to draft it, and then it became like I loved it at the end of the season. Same exact thing with Annihilate. Obviously, Screamtail's a little more not as prominent than Annihilate, but it definitely came as less than Annihilate. But I'm so happy I got to Annihilate. Samurott Hisui, same thing. I think I did. We'll get into it when we do more of the sets. I think I created a lot of different sets. Obviously, features are just spammable. I used banded sets. I used SD sets. I used a mixed special set. I could definitely see myself drafting Hisui and Samurott in the near future. Probably won't do it for the next season. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. I think I'm okay with skipping at least a season or two without Samurott Hisui. But now that I've drafted it, I feel very confident. If I ever have to face it, I know exactly what to do around it. So that's also a really good thing. Gyucho Hisui was a Pokemon that I was very excited to draft. Like I said, favorite pseudo-legendary family. I don't think I used it as well as I could have. The reason I say that is I brought it a lot just to be the defensive pivot, because that's what I saw Envy use it as. And then I didn't really get to experiment with it as much as I thought I was going to experiment with it. I obviously got to play with the EVs, which I really much enjoyed. I've grown to love like picking out weird EV sets. But like I said, I felt like it was more of a front runner for the defensive end, and then towards the end of the season, you'll see that when I get into the teams, it became more of an afterthought. I'm like, oh, Gujarasu's not making it. Oh well, and then that ended up happening for the last like 4 weeks where I didn't use Gujarasui. Um, it could be obviously matchup dependent, but I don't know. It just could be more of an afterthought. I wanted to use other things instead. Same thing goes for Espeon. Espeon was top 3 in kill leaders for the first 4 or 5 weeks. Pairing with Annihilate, they were basically tied for a very, very long time. And then some matchups happened where Espeon got killed a lot sooner than I intended it to. And then again, like Guja, towards the back half of the season, it kind of became the afterthought. And I was honestly okay with it. I think I've drafted Espeon before, and obviously Terra Fairy made the difference. I basically only ran one Terra Psychic, and I think that was week 2 or week 1. I think it was week 1, yeah, because it was against Soup. Um, but other than that, I drafted Espeon one other time, and I didn't like it at all. I knew drafting this was gonna be a redemption mon for me. I like to do at least one, if not, ideally at least one redemption mon per season I can. An example of that was Mega Mawile I did in the previous draft league, where I absolutely hated Mega Mawile. I ended up just like, screw it, I'm drafting Mega Mawile, and I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna fully invest into it, and ended up really liking Mega Mawile. So I feel like I got the redemption arc, and I feel like I got the redemption arc out of Espeon. I know it's gonna be Teraband for the rest of the metagame, and I'm cool with it. I'm happy I used it. I ran the spec set, ran the 3 commons choice scarf set 2 times at least. Ran a defensive set. I ran a screen set. I'm very happy with that. Moving on to Volcarona. Pretty much did exactly what Volcarona does. It ended games when it needed to end games. It broke when it needed to break. Nothing too much to say. Tinglu, again, not too much to say. Bramblegas, I really invested it into week. Who did I invest Bramble into? Into Remy. I would have won against that Remy matchup. We talked about that. Because he was getting another playoff match. Bramblegas looks really good into Remy, and the only reason I lost that week, is entirely because of the pair. He brought Thunderwave Bisharp straight up. Like that Thunderwave landing, and I think a 1-turn para mattered. Um, Other than that, Bramblegas won. Which is what I expected it to do. Probably not come as often. Didn't really care about hazards. Um, and then just when it needed, had the good matchup, it comes and it does work. Sadly, it didn't do as much work, but yeah. Tingaton, I feel pretty confident with. I honestly, I think I brought it mostly offensive than defensively, which I'm pretty happy with. Usually I think I brought 2 SC sets. So nothing much to say on there. Thunderous Therian, Scarf 1 set, Assault Vest 1 set, Agility 1 set. I brought a Weather Ball set. So pretty happy with Thunderous. Swella, again, I already spoke one more of that. And Ice Cube, I already spoke one word on that. So right now we're going to get into the negatives, and specifically the week-to-week negatives. And obviously these are all the teams. Soup, Warmpole, Follow Brandon, Brickless, Zaku, Remy, Bago, Brandon again. Wait. Why did I face Brandon twice? I think that name's wrong. Who did I face in week 8? Melly. I don't know why. Don't know why it was like that, but it was. Um, Overall, I'm happy with most of the sets I brought. Um, Obviously the staple of my builds this season was Mirror Herb, and it focused heavily a lot around Mirror Herb. I call myself the MV of Trick Room of Mirror Herb. No one brings Mirror Herb to the Mirror House. Um, Obviously I think I brought a Mirror Herb Annihilate 3 times. I think. Against Soup. Choice Band. Lefties. Cassia Berry. Didn't bring him here. Okay, Mental Herb. So maybe I only brought it twice. There's the mental. There's the Chester Resto. Yeah, maybe I only brought it once, but get Soup twice. But obviously people run a lot of mirror herb against me, um, to try and counteract the Annihilate and the SD Swords Dance and the Volcarona and stuff like that. I will say one negative I have with Annihilate is I feel like I didn't experiment with it as much as I thought I would. Um, and realistically, the reason for that is Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Rage Fist does exactly what it does, and you guys saw the entire season where it just kind of worked. Um, so obviously I brought two choice band sets. Obviously the biggest one being, two choice bands and a Volcarona and a Christmas tree. Very happy with that, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Um, I think I should have experimented more. I pretty much basically brought the abilities kind of changed. Um, but mostly it was the three mechanic sets, and that's my goal with the other season I'm drafting Annihilate is to experiment more with it and kind of come up with weird sets as hell because I used it more basic Annihilate, and that's completely fine. That's Annihilate does exactly what it can do and what I did do in this season. So overall, I'm happy with the sets. I feel like I should have done a little bit more. Um, Other than that, the biggest week to week problem and negative I have is this week. This was against Remy. Like I was talking about, this was the only match I didn't record. I was in a lot of pain and sick at the same time. And unfortunately, my plan was once I got better and started feeling better and good enough to record was to do a post recording and just give my thoughts and give what happened, stuff like that. Ironically, at the exact same time, Showdown lost all the replays and it was down for, I don't know, 7-8 days. And the cutoff was all the replays are back from all of Cross Showdown except for challenge custom or like challenge customs where you challenge another person. All those replays lost, so I can't even show you what happened. I will say it was. Let's go back to it. It was a 2-0 loss. First loss of the season. I was pretty certain I was gonna lose that matchup. I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty optimistic when it comes to matches. Um, but I really wasn't feeling it. I probably wasn't in the best headspace just due to the sickness and doing the pain, and I didn't prep for that match at all, unlike I normally do. But here are the sets. Like I said earlier, Brambleghast can win in that game. Poltergeist, C-Bomb, Rapid Spin, Strength Sap. Um, at +1, it outsped something specific on Ramey's team. Probably Rabambi. Probably a max speed Rabambi would be my guess. Um, I know specifically the spell tag Poltergeist was there. If you use a Physdev Zapdos, it did 56% with Poltergeist, obviously making that 2 a KO, which is very important. C-Bomb is there for like the Palafin, stuff like that. Rapid Spin was there to get the speed, and Strength Sap was actually there to, it could theoretically counter Garchomp and Palafin if it got in the correct mood. Like I said, unfortunately he got Thunder Waved by a Bisharp. Other than that, Brambleghast literally would have won. AV, Fizdef, Tinglu was basically just there to counteract the Rabombi, the Zapdos, and stuff like that. The Typhology and Hisui specifically was there for that. That was my first game that I brought. I think that was my first game that I brought Ice Cube. I think. Let me double check. Yeah, this is the week before. This is the week I first bought Ice Cube. It was a choice scarf set to deal with Palafin, to deal with Zapdos and stuff like that. Pretty substandard, modest max speed, nuts speed, outspeed, scarf this. The coolest set I brought that week, I think, was and sadly I lost this to the fact that it was Metronome Thunderbolt. It could 1v1 a Clefable, a special defensive Clefable. It does like 36% with the first Thunderbolt, then it does like 39, which looks like a roll, and then he like ideally he'd wish up or soft bow it up, and then it would do like 46%, basically just there to spiral out. So I really like that set. I'm really sad they didn't get shown in the video. Protected Paths is obviously there for the Zapdos, and the Clefable could Rocky Helmet, the Moose could run Rocky Helmet, stuff like that. And just Juggernaut tech speed to outspeed something. Um, and then just Juggernaut, Aqua Jet, Smart Strike, Useless Edge. Sadly, Smart Strike doesn't get boosted by Sharpness, which doesn't really make sense to me because I feel like Strike, like Sharpness Strike, I feel like that makes sense. And like I said earlier, I did bring a screen set. That was this. It was a Solo Reflect Espeon. So I'm really sad I couldn't record that video in live, let alone I can't even do a post recording. Um, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with all the unique sets. Obviously, I had my Shaq sets of the week. Choice Specs, Gudra Hisui was definitely the Shaq set of the quarterfinals. I think the double banded was a set, the Shaq set of semifinal or no, that was semifinals. Was the double was the Gudra Hisui quarterfinals. The double banded I think was really good. Mellies was weird because we technically did a meme team, but I didn't bring the meme team because we didn't really agree to it. It was kind of weird. I didn't really have a good Shaq set this week. I think the biggest one was like Charty Berry, I guess, was for the Power Gem Sandy Shocks. Bagos, what was it? Twisted Spoon Psychic was really, really, really interesting. I'm pretty happy with that set. I don't remember if it worked out or not. Choice Spec Psychic, I really like this this Choice Spec Suture Size set. I've been realizing the past year I've been using it a lot really. Um, we talked about the Remy. Obviously, I think the spell tag works really, really well. I think the metronome works really, really well. Zaku's Shack set. The Power Herb. I think it was. Oh, the Power Herb Solar Beam was really cool. The Eject Button Tinglu was interesting. The Mental Herb. Um, it was Mental Herb Defiant for some reason. I don't remember exactly why. But it was like to counter like attract. I think it was attract. Um, it was attract Screamtail into like Arcanine Hisui, Intimidate, something like that. First Spring Wing Swallow, I really liked it. Pretty. I don't think there's any. Chester Resto, Mono Rage Fist was really interesting against Brick. I know and it didn't end up working out as much as I thought it would, because the Puppeteer came to play, in that matchup. But I really like this set just because he had no normal type that I could just run these Resto Chesto Bulk Up Rage Fist and it could theoretically win the game. Raisin Mirror Herb Volcarona was really cool. That ended up working for the Komodo, I believe. Got the Quiver Dance into the Mirror Herb. He used Claim Your Souls. I get the boost, and then I win from there. Nothing else. Oh, and also the Rain Dance Thunder was really cool that week. Wurmple's Shack set wasn't really anything crazy. That was the first time I got Banded and Annihilate, which I really liked. That was also where Espeon went crazy. We'll get into that in just a second. And then obviously the Star Shack set of the week, the thing that Soup ungodly hates, is the Mirror Annihilate, getting the boosted attack, getting the boosted speed on the mouse hold. The Twisted Spoon Terra Psychic did a number in mocks. So overall, I'm absolutely ecstatic with the Shack sets. I that's what myself I pride on is I come up with something weird and stupid, and it shouldn't work, but it mostly works. So overall, I'm happy with the teams. Like I said, I wish I had experimented a little bit more with Annihilate. That's on me. I didn't really feel like I needed to during when I was making it live, but post-com, I think I should have experimented more. Um, Overall team, I'm happy with. I would 100% draft this team again, easily, hands down. I didn't really need. I mean, obviously, I brought a fuck ton of spikes with Ceaseless Edge. I was realistically speed tiers were whack as hell. I had really really weird speed tiers. I think. I relied on basically not necessarily outspeeding things, but only certain mons outspeeding certain things. Um, Weak to fire, which is really interesting. You don't really see a lot of teams that are weak to fire technically. Weak to ground is pretty common. Weak to ghost is pretty common. Um, so overall, happy with the team. Realistically, I didn't really have good defense technically, and didn't really have good speed. Kind of weird. Overall, like I said, I think the only mons I wouldn't probably draft again. I don't see myself drafting Ice Q again, unless it's like dirt cheap and I have 1 point left. Don't see myself drafting Bramble Gas again. But any other of these mons, I'm completely happy with drafting again, hands down. So last part, we're gonna get into the video. We're gonna get into the YouTube portion of it. So obviously, my biggest regret is thumbnails. I feel like I shouldn't say biggest regret is thumbnails. I probably should have edited. That's on me. I kind of just didn't edit the first video, and I was like, that's giving me my style. It's giving me raw dog, just purely. Here's the content. Here's the game. End the video. I want to edit my videos eventually, but honestly, I kind of like not editing. Saves on time for one, which I really don't have. Two, it makes it somewhat unique. Obviously, a lot of like small YouTubers don't edit, but I'm okay with editing. Um, Other than that, like I said, the only sad thing about videos I didn't post one of the weeks. So I have technically an incomplete season, and I can't make it that back. Um, Thumbnail wise, I'm happy. Literally, the only two thumbnails I really don't like are these two right here. I think these two, I was so. My favorite thumbnail is this one, A Witch in Pokemon. I think this thumbnail looks amazing, and I tried to create something along those lines with these two, week 3 and week 4. I had the ideas in mind. They just ended up not working out. I probably should redo these thumbnails, but honestly, This is what it means to be a basic YouTuber. Um, Obviously, this thumbnail, the first one, the meme from Thor Ragnarok, you can't defeat me, and then Thor goes, I know, but he can, and then it's obviously Ragnarok coming out of Annihilate, and it's being Annihilate. Not my favorite thumbnail, but like my favorite idea and concept. Probably shouldn't end up changing it. I feel like I'm okay with it. It's gonna live there. It's my first ever video. I feel like it's there for the experience. Like I said, my favorite thumbnail is this one, is Espeon. I think it looks really good. I like the colors, the green, the teal, the purple, the orange. It looks really, really well. My second favorite thumbnail is this one right here. I think it's looked really good against Bago. Technically, my first shown loss. Obviously, I didn't record the Remy match, but the Samurott, the Chimpow, and the Zoroark just hiding in the snow using that illusion. I really do love that thumbnail. Overall, I'm completely happy. I went into this season not planning on recording at all. I was like, screw it. I'm gonna stream the first season. I'm gonna stream the first week because it's against Soup. The OBS was like, no, your stream key's not working. Try to set it up with Twitch. Didn't have working. I was like, screw it. I'll record it and see what happens. And I was like, screw it. I'll post it. See what happens. And then it turned into this entire YouTube, deep voice, YouTube star stuff. Like I said, overall, I'm happy with thumbnails. I think I created my style using this background, using the main Pokemon of the focus. One thing I'm ecstatic about is my titles. I think I created a really unique, not necessarily unique titles thing, but I think I love my titles. I try to think of them. Usually they're pretty easy to come with. Really, the only hardest one was this last one. Um, but like Ragnarok is here, A Witch in Pokemon. Can I have a hurricane for Christmas? Gligar becomes a puppeteer's trick. They see me roll in, they screen in. This one really doesn't make sense because like a bandit disguise and make sure like Zoroark's the bandit one, but it's really not. I still like the title. Sandy Shocks can bench press 640. The idea behind that is they got the +6, but it'd be weird if it just can bench press +6. So I was like 640 is, yeah, it makes sense for weightlifting terms. My favorite title, hands down, is 2 choice bands and a Volcarona and a Christmas tree. Ironically, I had 2 Christmas themed titles in one season. Yet one was actually at Christmas time, one was in November. I'm cool with it. I had a very, very hard time coming up with me versus Wurmple in the semifinals match. I did not have a theme. Like I said, that in that matchup, and I'll talk about that in a sec right now. I understand I lost 5-0. Straight up, I do. However, when I was in that match, it only really dawned on me I was going to leave it on 5-0 until like the second to last turn. I genuinely, and I still believe it. I still don't believe it, but I'm more so cool with it. Is I lost 5-0. Wurmple said I should have brought a more powerful team. I understand that, but like I said in that moment, I didn't feel like I needed the power. And I had a hard time coming with the title. I decided to do the hero and their nemesis clash. Obviously, I lost to Wurmple 2 times last season. I only beat him once this season. Try to get the playoff rematch. I thought that made sense for a title. Overall, I'm happy with the season. I think the only thing I really want to do is like maybe do a banner, maybe change up my Minecraft skin, make it more cartoonish. I'm really getting tired talking for this long. Normally in my videos I just kind of cut out for a little bit while I'm thinking about it, but I'm just straight talking. overall, I give my first ever YouTube season. I think I give it a solid 7, maybe 8. Obviously, I won a lot of games. I'm very happy I won a lot of games. I know I can improve. I'm going to try to improve every single time I record. Make excellent content for you guys. Um, with that being said, I plan on definitely recording season 3 of PWBC, and I plan on recording another league if I join another league. So at bare minimum, 1, if not 2 videos a week coming up soon. With that being said, there's nothing really else for me to say. My throat's getting really, really tired. This has been the retrospective of PWBC Season 2. I will see you guys later. Peace.